and actually that she has interest in children. And of course, by the time someone has interest in children, that means she has seen something that has attracted that line of profession. So I'm sure tonight we shall be listening from someone who has worked on so many mothers, who has handled so many pregnant women, but also who has seen it all, who has maybe seen how us as men have gone with our wives for antenatal visits. So I'm sure she's someone who can speak to us and we know how much do we care. What have we done for our mothers? What have we done for our wives? What have we done for our children? What have we done in our homes as men to show care? And that yes, we are part of the journey. So I pray we shall put our hands together and we will come Dr. Shabri and Sabrina should be able to tell us more about herself. Maybe some of the things that I've not talked about. I will leave it to her to say more about that. And me and you, I'm sure tonight we shall be much blessed. So, Doctor, you're most welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Uncle Dixon. Please confirm that you can hear what I am saying.
Yes, you're loud and clear.
All right, praise God, everyone, and thank you for coming to attend this men's fellowship. It is not usual for a lady to be leading men's fellowship, but I thank all the men who have joined and all the women who have also accompanied their spouses to join this fellowship. I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Dr. Sabrina Chitaka. I am a married woman. I'm married to engineer Andrew Kitaka, who is been my husband for the last over 30 years now, and I'm grateful to God for this opportunity. I'd like to say that we have five beautiful children, the youngest of whom is 19 and is listening to this conversation. So he's representing all the men because daddy is on his way back home. So I'll start this conversation by saying that I am a pediatrician, but I'm also an adolescent medicine provider. And adolescents are people aged 10 to 19, but we know now that they span their description up to the age of 24 because their brains are still growing. I head the infectious diseases ward at Mulago National Referral Hospital, and I'll start by sharing two stories of two men who are taking care of their children on the ward this week. The first one I'll just call M, who is a father of 5-year-old. M is 33 years old, and his son, who is 5 years old, is being managed for severe malaria, and his son had blood in the urine. When I saw him, I asked him if he had other children, and at the age of 33, M told me that he's a father of 7 children, and I was a bit surprised because he was the sole caretaker of the 5-year-old. I tried to probe him about family planning and where is his wife, and he told me that his wife was nursing a 3 months old baby. I tried to ask about family planning, and M told me that, in his words, it is God who will decide how many children he's going to have because 7 are not enough for him. And I asked him if he was able to take care of them, pay their school fees, and he said, I am not God. God will provide. M had stopped in primary 7, and he did desire for his children to study longer than him. We'll come back to this story later. The other father, who I will call T, was a 30-year-old man whose 8-year-old son is being managed for tetanus. T was on the ward with his wife, and he was the one feeding the child with tetanus. He told me he worked as a pastor in a church and he believed that his son was going to get better. He had refused to get a nasogastric tube for his son, and after explaining to him the importance of having a nasogastric tube, he hesitantly agreed. The boy is now getting better, he's fully sedated, and we hope he will recover. Now, my challenge with both men, much as they were caring, both of them were now held in the hospital taking care of very sick children because of things that are preventable. Both men had stopped in primary school. M had stopped in primary 7, and T was a P2 dropout. He had never vaccinated his children. And so I share with all of you these stories because fathers especially are called upon to raise your children to the next generation of influence. Not only raise them academically and let them be successful in their careers, but also raise them in a good character, to be God fearing and to have an identity. We know that fathers are the head of the house and they should lead their families in discipleship. They should teach the children how to pray and even be role models for good attributes, such as eating well, doing exercise, keeping time, and staying focused. I know that my topic today was how do fathers take care of pregnant women? But women don't just wake up and become pregnant. The father and the mother need to plan for that pregnancy. And today, I'd like to urge all the fathers on this call to plan to get their wives pregnant at least 2 months before the lady actually becomes pregnant. Because in that way, they will be feeding well, they will be exercising, and they'll be mentally prepared to ensure that their wife is going to become pregnant. And as they become pregnant, the father should also plan to be present at all antenatal checks. Dear friends, gone are the days when we were asking fathers to be present at only 4 antenatal checks. Today, we encourage mothers to go for at least 8 antenatal checks. The first one is when the woman misses her period and you have to go and do a pregnancy test, but also determine whether that pregnancy is lying in utero or is a fallopian pregnancy. Should the pregnancy be in the fallopian tube, that means that the pregnancy is an ectopic pregnancy and the lady may be at risk of getting ruptured ectopic and even dying from hemorrhage. So fathers not only provide emotional support when the woman is pregnant, but they also provide financial support, they provide emotional and even practical support, like showing her where to sit, riding her on the bicycle and going to the hospital, or riding her in a Mercedes Benz if they have the money. For fathers to be involved right from the beginning, it's going to impact on the child. It's going to impact not only on the mother's state of well being while she's pregnant, but also impact on the well being of the child. We know very well that when a father speaks to the baby while in utero, prays for that child while in utero, sings hymns for that baby while in utero, the child is more likely to be born very calm and composed. And also, when fathers are aware that the mother is going through problems, we know that women can get hypertension in pregnancy. Women can also crave for various things. I remember when I was pregnant, I used to crave for all manner of things, from cheese to avocado, which is frozen, to so many things. And my dear husband would be there making sure I have all the things that I'm craving for. And I'm grateful because he was present. I'd like to say that if you're preparing to become a father and you know that you're the head of the home, do not be afraid, because as fathers lead the home and they are the first priests in the home, they will be able to guide that home to pray together, to manifest positivity, and to work together to build values. I'd like to reflect on the book of Chronicles, chapter 28, verse 20, where David was speaking to his son Solomon. And he said to Solomon, "Be strong and courageous, and do the work. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord God, my God, is with you. He will not fail you. He will not forsake you, and He will make sure that all the work of the temple will be done, and the Lord will ensure that it is finished." Men are called upon to be perseverant and brave. And if you believe in a higher being, if you believe that God is real, then you will have the strength that surpasses all understanding. But men are called upon to be role models. And there are 7 reasons why fathers should practice their faith in front of their wives and even in front of their children. The first reason is, if they pray, even when the baby is in utero, it's going to evangelize these children. The word of God tells us that men are the head of the household, and so they should pray. If a man prays with his wife while she is pregnant, while she is giving birth, while they are bringing up their children, the power of 2 and 3 gathered together is stronger than the power of one. The third reason why men should pray is because it will show them that that not only women are religious. A lot of times you will find Christian unions are full of women. You will find that the choirs are full of women. But if the men also practice being in the choir, leading service, leading men's fellowship, then their children will fall in place automatically. It is also important to express prayer as a form of weakness. And it is important that men are the role models right from the beginning. It starts with escorting your wife while praying to that labor suit, praying above the child and ensuring that the child understands that you, as the father, you are prayerful. And remember, the house is the smallest church. And as we pray, God will listen to our prayers. I know that men also get afraid. When the wife is pregnant, you hear stories of, "Oh my God, I don't know what to do. My wife is pregnant, she's craving for this. She is so heavy, I cannot lift her anymore. I don't know what to tell her. Sometimes she's asking me to tie her shoelaces." Yes, tie those shoelaces. You're the father of that pregnancy. And sometimes it can take a toll on men's mental health. It is usually a myth that is said that men should not cry, men should not be afraid. But it is okay to feel afraid and to be stressed. There are myths which say that men don't cry. And I have seen men losing their wives, unfortunately, when the women are pregnant and they die, and the men are told, "Don't cry." Men don't cry. But I remember a long time ago when I was a young doctor, there was a lady who came in with a rupture placenta. The placenta had covered the womb and dislodged. And sadly, the woman bled. And I remember the gentleman crying. The lady had empako. In Rotoro, the empako is like a kiki avoli. And he was crying, Avoli, I'm glad that I last loved you last night. Even though you're gone, I know that I have always loved you. Imagine if that man had been the reason why his wife was dying. It was just a bad, unfortunate incident, but there are men also who beat up their wives in gender based violence, and the women end up losing the baby or even losing their lives. And I wonder what those men would be saying aloud if they were the cause of the death of that woman. It is important for men to seek help if they are mentally stressed. Some men seek help from the wrong places. They seek help from bars, they seek help from tipping the bottle of alcohol, and they end up becoming mentally unstable. If you're suffering, if you feel stressed, please go and seek help. I know that June was the month of the men's mental health, and I think that we should continually talk about men's mental health. For many generations, men have been told that seeking help is a sign of weakness. Men are also told that they have to deal with issues that keep them that keep those issues to yourself. Internalize the problem. You're a man, you're strong, you have testosterone. Don't talk about your problems. But today I'd like to say, gentlemen, if you have a problem, if you have a disease called pocketemia and you have no money, please seek for help. Men's health concerns go untreated, and these lead to chronic issues like chronic stress and undiagnosed anxiety and depression. And we know that men are more likely to attempt suicide or to even complete a suicide. Lo and behold, if you're a kind of a man who is depressed and sad and you're not seeking help, and you're even threatening to go and hang yourself, please seek help. There's help in form of counselors, there's help in form of the prayer leaders and prayer warriors, that if you open up and you get help, then your family will be stronger. There's no shame in being mentally ill, but there's shame in not talking about it. So, as I summarize and I finish, I'd like to say that pregnancy is an exciting thing. Pregnancy is a glorious thing, and when the baby is born, everyone celebrates. But you cannot be celebrating if you cannot pay for labor, the labor dues. I know men who are totally unprepared. When the baby is born, they start calling up everyone. So and so, Mpayoka 20K. My wife is in labor. Your wife has been in labor for 9 months. So please plan. Take every child as a project. And if you want to have 4 projects, just know from the time that baby is in the womb, you are planning for them. Until they finish their education, you are still going to be paying their fees. Last of all, please do not delay to give birth. There are many circumstances why people would delay, but the older you become and you're having your first child, the more likely you are to get mutations. I know a family that had, their first child when they were both above the age of 40, and sadly they got a child who had Down syndrome. Even the second child had Down syndrome. And these things happen. So I'd like to urge that we enhance our scientific knowledge, but also our belief in God. That if you are a man and you are approaching the age of 35, think about storing your spermatozoa in a sperm bank, so that in the event that you must have a child, never know, you may want to use spermatozoa that are younger than later. And that conversation I know is complicated. My son has walked away because I mentioned this. But anyway, I think that it's something that we need to talk about, all of us. So in Uganda, the postnatal holidays are given to women for only 6 weeks, and then for men only 4 days. But we know that paternity leave and maternity leave in other countries is extended. Men also suffer from lack of sleep when the baby has come and they are crying and they have colic, and my goodness, and yet they have to go to work. So, my call is to whoever is listening to ensure that when your wife is pregnant and she's going to give birth, plan your leave around that time, so that at least you have 30 days of being around your wife, being with a baby, instead of the 4 days and then you rush off and then you come back from work and you're sleepy, you're angry, you're tired and stressed. While the lady has 6 weeks maternity leave, which in other countries is 1 year. But anyway, as the baby comes, it's important for you to have enough rest so that you take care of the baby together. I'm going to stop here for now because of time. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them. Be blessed. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Doctor. I think the last call was very wonderful for those who haven't married and who are thinking about that. And of course, we have some people who haven't married, men, and who may not be knowing this message. And I'm just wondering, I want to begin from there. How best can such a people who are they are not yet married and they don't have that information, how can they know it? Um, Maybe for us who are here could be converted, but if we want to go and preach the other people who are not yet converted, what do we do? How do we take that information to them so that they know that they can store, know uh, what they need to store so that they can be helped tomorrow? What advice do you give us? Doctor, are we together?
Yes, I'm here. Is there a specific question?
Yes, I was asking that from the last comment you made about people having married and that they need to store their sperm somewhere in the bank. I was asking that if people are not aware of this information, how best can we take this information to them? How do they get such a kind of information? Because some of us who are maybe may be married, or maybe some of us here could be converted, but there are those who are not here, they don't know this information. I'm hearing it for the first time. So how do we make sure that such a kind of information is known by many people outside there? And
So I think what
as you come up, I would encourage other people to have questions to feel free and put their questions in the chat. Yes, over to you, Doctor.
thank you, Uncle Dixon, for asking this question. And it's a pertinent question. And you know that infertility is becoming more and more common. Um, the last I read, the prevalence of infertility may be up to 6.5% in the African region, and it's going up. Infertility is going up for many reasons, because of the heat that people expose to themselves, because of wearing tight boxers, because they put laptops on their laps, because of mumps, because of many things. But as people grow older and older, if they are not virile and they're not having babies, the likelihood of mutations increases. And in developed countries where biotissue banks are more common and more cheaply available, people store their spermatozoa as early as possible for any eventualities. because the way children are made in other places and even increasingly in Uganda is becoming more scientific. I'll leave that there for now. But we now know that there are many sperm banks, there are many fertility clinics, and you're allowed to go and store your genetic material there for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Members, I'm not seeing any question in the chat, but feel free to send me your question. You can even do it privately, so don't just be there and you miss out to ask your question, yet you have a burning question there, or a burning issue that you may need some help. So if you can't just put it open there, just text me. I'll be able to read it. Doctor, I have two questions which are in my inbox. One says, Dr. Chitaka, thank you so much for sharing. And from your experience, what are some things most men do not understand about pregnancy and postpartum recovery, but really need to know? And then another one says, what are some simple everyday things a husband can do to show care and reduce stress for his pregnant or nursing wife? Yeah, over to you, Doctor. As I receive others, I'll be reading them to
Okay.
you.
Okay. Thank you for those questions. Maybe men don't understand that when a woman is pregnant, her hormones are playing up and down, and she can be craving genuinely. It's not kajanja, it is just sometimes women have a disease called pica. Like if their iron is low, they may start eating inanimate objects like clay, or they may start eating ice. And the man may get confused. Is this woman becoming cuckoo? What is going on? Some women will crave for the smell of their husband's shirts, and they'll start putting on the husband's clothes just in an effort to keep smelling his body. So they're craving for a certain smell. Um, Women like to be pampered when they are pregnant. They may require that you massage their feet. I saw someone in the comments saying, why would I have time to sing to my child? I think that if you're a father or a father to be, yes, you will sing to that child because children want to hear your voice. And the sooner they hear your voice, the more they will understand that indeed you are their father. So the other question, sorry, I didn't understand it. If you could read it again.
Okay, it was saying that, Dr. Chitaka, from your experience, what are some things most men do not understand about pregnancy or postpartum recovery, but we need to know?
So in postpartum recovery, there's something called the postpartum blues, that women may actually become sad and lonely. And that is the time the father needs to be around them. And if the woman goes into frank depression, they need to take this lady to the hospital to get proper treatment. The other thing that men need to understand is that sexual relations cannot happen before 6 weeks of life, postpartum, because the uterus is still recovering, the woman is still gaining her body back, and she can actually bleed and get postpartum hemorrhage and die. So they have to wait until they consummate their marriage again, and after 6 weeks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doctor. There's this one. We have some questions in the box. Thank you so much for the great presentation. Our African culture has a lot to do with the less involvement of most men in their wives' pregnancy time. How can we navigate the cultural challenges? Actually, combine that question with, in many African cultures, care is labeled as a woman's job. How can we help men break free from that mindset and embrace their role as caregivers too. So I think those two can go together because they're the same almost.
Okay, traditionally, men were seen as macho, they were seen as strong, and they were not seen as carers. And in the past, I know there's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and families were more socialized. Today, especially in the urban community, it's very difficult for a person living in an apartment in a small flat to bring in the mother-in-law, the senga, and everyone else to take care of a woman who has given birth. So men will have to learn very quickly how to take care of their wives because even the grandmothers or the aunties who they used to rely on may not be present. You may be the only carer for your wife. So you need to know what to do. You need to know how to change that baby's pamper. You need to know how to feed that baby because the world is becoming more complicated. And if your wife has to go back to work in 6 weeks and then you two have to take care of the baby somehow, you need more money to support the family generally. And you may need to bring in a helper who you have to train and learn to live in a society that is becoming more and more urbanized. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Doctor. I have a question from a lady. She said, thank you so much for sharing, Doctor. Can a girl recovering from a stroke advise to conceive in future or can stay without children? In short, do you advise someone who has gone through a stroke to conceive
So
or to stay without children?
those are really good questions. And strokes can be caused by many things. They can be caused by hypertension. They can be caused by a bleed. And so, if for example the hypertension is not well controlled, it would be complicated for this person to get pregnant. But if the stroke has recovered, yes, it is possible to get pregnant and get babies. It's not impossible.
Okay. Then there's a testimony. Someone says a personal testimony. I always walk to my children and pray. I always talk to my children and pray for them while in the womb. And results are priceless, especially in the bonding part. I think this is an encouragement to us men that yes, this is doable and we can always do it. Still, I have a question from a man. He says, during my wife's pregnancy, I feel neglected or disconnected from her, and I don't know what to do. What advice can the doctor give me?
Thank you. I'm sorry about that. Sometimes when women are pregnant, like I mentioned, they can also be frustrated because pregnancy takes a huge toll on a woman. And I think that it is important to have communication, that if your wife is neglecting you, talk to her, let her know that you feel neglected. Sometimes, as I already mentioned, for many generations, men have been told that seeking help is a sign of weakness. Don't be weak. Talk to your wife and tell her, honey, I miss you. I miss the former you, and I need to cuddle and hug. It is okay to let her know that you're missing her and you feel neglected. But if you keep quiet and you go and look for a source of comfort from elsewhere, the family may end up breaking up just because you've not talked to your wife about what you are going through. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor. Yes, you asked about the person who was talking about the stroke, what could have caused it, and she says it was caused by ruptured veins. So I don't know if you have more information for her, or she goes with the advice that you already gave her.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the underlying cause needs to be treated. And if the underlying cause was treated or managed, the getting pregnant is possible. I want to say it's possible. but then they have to be monitored because if you have one stroke, the likelihood of getting another stroke is really high. And that when you're pregnant, you may have to be put on medication that will thin out your blood to prevent you from getting another stroke.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. I'm sure she has heard. Another one says, my wife had her womb overturned. I approached the doctor and he told me the system used is irreversible and she can't undergo any other surgery. This is almost 9 years now. Is there hope of her carrying a baby again?
Um, Sorry about that. Um, we know that pregnancy can now be from many ways, including surrogacy. That if your wife is not able to carry a baby on her own, she can still produce eggs, and we do in vitro fertilization, and then the baby is carried by another woman, which is called a surrogate mother. So that is a possibility in science. But the other way of getting a child, if your wife cannot have a baby, or even you may not be able to sire a child, there's a possibility of adoption. At Sanyu Baby's home, I used to be on the board and I would see parents coming in. They've been struggling to have children for years and years and years, and they choose adoption. It is possible to have a child even without your wife carrying that baby in the womb. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. I have two more questions, just which are here with me. This one says, what do women wish their husbands knew during and after pregnancy? That is one. And then another one says, which is almost the same. What signs should a husband watch for that might indicate his wife is struggling emotionally after birth?
Thank you so much. What do women wish that their husbands knew? I think one of those things includes that they want to be loved more, including how you express love in any language, emotionally, financially, physically. All that should happen. There are men who think that when their wives are pregnant, they cannot consummate their marriage, and they need to know that that can also happen. Okay, to prevent restraint in the home. Emotional stress can lead to depression. And if the signs and symptoms go on for more than 2 weeks, that is severe depression and needs medical attention. So if a person who was generally a happy person stops talking to you, they are not smiling, they are unkempt, they don't care about what's going on, they are seeing that the baby is a newborn and it's supposed to be a happy experience, but they are neglecting the child, they are rejecting the child, that is a cause of emergency. And you need to call in for help. Depression is real, and postpartum depression is common, and it needs to be addressed. Otherwise, it can result in very bad side effects. Thank you.
Uh, Another one says, four children all delivered by C-section, and the man still demands for more. How can we help men to embrace family planning? That is from a lady.
I think that if you've had four children by C-section, the risk of you having a ruptured uterus is a lot. And so the couple needs to come in to see their gynecologist or obstetrician for counseling, because as you do more and more cesarean sections, the womb or the uterus becomes weaker and weaker, and it can just break open and you lose the mother and the baby. Four
But
children should really be enough.
Doctor, in the case, maybe in the instance where the husband has been advised to go, maybe the wife is advising the husband to go for counseling and the husband is adamant. And yes, he needs every night almost or frequently, and yet the woman can't handle that. What should she do?
Honestly speaking, when a man is adamant to go for counseling, like I said earlier, men should know that seeking counseling is not a problem. Seeking counseling actually increases their likelihood of getting better. So maybe they could call in the best man to talk to them, or his father, or a brother who is close to him to be able to talk on man basis.
Okay, then another one says, I'm on the fourth floor and my husband is worried that if I got pregnant, carrying it term isn't possible. Yet I need to kindly advise. Clearly, this is a lady. She wants more children, yet
Well,
she's now getting she's
congra-
on the fourth floor.
congratulations on being on the fourth floor and wanting to have children. I don't know if she has another children before, but like I said, having children, the older you are, the more likelihood of having mutations and other complications. So talk to your husband and also weigh the risks between your health. So it would be good to have a good conversation with your obstetrician so that you are safe during as you carry that pregnancy. But it has to be a discussion between the two of you and your doctor.
Okay, thank you so much, doctor. I don't know if you're able to see what is in the chat, but if not, I can read for you. But that's the last question about what other ways can we use to practice family planning? What is the safest way for a man to practice family planning apart from condoms and withdrawal, which are not reliable?
So, family planning is when two people decide on when they should have their next pregnancy, and contraception is preventing that pregnancy. And like you rightly said, withdrawal or using safe days is very useful. Some people have used it for years and years and years, but it may not be as reliable as medical means. For example, using oral contraceptive pills or using an intrauterine device or using protection with condoms. So the couple needs to talk to their provider and be able to determine which is the safest thing for them to use. But more and more increasingly, there are safer and safer ways of preventing pregnancy, which can be discussed.
Thank you so much. Friends, thank you so much for this evening. I think this has been very interactive. Thank you so much for your questions, which you're able to share directly or also posting in the chat. I'm grateful that we've been able to have an interactive session with the doctor, and I feel like we have exhausted everything. And I know that me and you have learned something, especially my two brothers. Tonight, I'm sure that we have learned something. And if we happen to have pregnant mothers, I mean, pregnant wives and mothers in our midst, we shall be able to know how best we can take care of them. I'm going to request Uncle Bob to come and extend a vote of thanks. And then when it's done, I'm going to request Reverend Hosea to come and give us a blessing as we depart. So Uncle Bob, you're most welcome. Please come and give us what says. Actually,
Um,
yes, a vote of thanks.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear
I'm in
you.
a noisy environment. I hope
We
the
can hear you.
background is not too noisy. Um, Thank you, Dr. Sabrina, for the wonderful presentation and the sharing of the knowledge that you've given us, and also for opening the eyes of many men out there, especially those who have been on the platform, that we shouldn't take a backbench when our wives and those in our care are pregnant. There are so many things we talked about, and I'm happy to be relating some of them. Like we talked about how you relate with the wife when she's pregnant, the singing, the dancing. I personally uh, have an experience from that. I've seen that the bonding that I get from being there for my wife, going with her for antenatal visits, and praying for my children when they are in the home, it has brought a lot of, closeness between me and them, and also her. And the depression that would have come up because of the different issues that happened during pregnancy and after, has not been as much, it has not taken a toll on her and the family at large because of doing such things. Thank you very much for emphasizing those things, and I would encourage every man on the call and those who will listen to this later to please put in practice what Doctor has advised and taught us. And we thank God that she was here today. And may God bless you. And we look forward to learning more from you in the very near future. Thank you, Dixon and team, for having thought about this important topic and gotten the best to present us. There is no better presenter would have taken it on like she has done, and we thank God for that. Thank you very much. And those of you who have come in, thank you, and thank you for supporting the men's fellowship.
Okay, thank you so much, Uncle Bob, for your